the MEGA5 EST Bass. Let's talk about it. Sorry for the theatrics, but this is an important IEM to me, so we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Jaytiss and how I came to my preference target and how I kind of came to this IEM, and talk a little bit about this IEM. First of all, the other day we talked about what Jaytiss is, and it's basically based on a D&D character of mine from when I was a kid, about 30 years ago. He's a Drow Ranger. Here's a couple of my other characters from D&D Beyond, just to show some cred, but that's a little bit of the history of the channel. So let's talk more about this IEM. What is this IEM? Well, first of all, it's a custom IEM that's very expensive. I got a nice discount from Hisenior of about 5% as a new user, but anyone can get that discount, not just me. So why is this one of my favorite IEMs under 1,000? Let's get into it. Now, these shells are custom. It's supposed to be the red one. The one on the left is red and really, really red, and the one on the right is blue. But in certain lights, the one on the right does look red, so I'm a little bit disappointed about the color, but it's not a massive deal. I still like the coloring of this faceplate, and it is custom. These are the ear tips. Nothing too special. And the case, it is kind of your standard Pelican case. It also comes with the Hisenior MEGA5 EST. So, you know, there's the packaging. Nothing too fancy, nothing too extravagant. Let's look at the cable. I think the cable is a little bit lackluster. It's not too exciting. It's basically the same kind of 2-wire thick cable that you'll see on some IEMs like the awful Explorer. I mean, the cable's nice. It feels nice on the skin, but it's like single wire, so it doesn't have a lot of plush feeling to it. It's kind of slightly stiff. Its chin slider is just sliding all the way around, and you know, it's kind of sturdy, but not nearly what I would want it to be. And let's look at the shell. The shell is nice and kind of a small size. It's not a perfect shell, but it is a nice shell. It has a nice little ring on it. Its design is custom, so for me, it's my own design, which I think is kind of cool. And it has a nice wing and lip around it, so putting ear tips on this is very easy. So this IEM, what is it? Why is it special? I'm going to talk a little bit about my audio journey and why I think this is an awesome IEM, and we'll kind of go from there. So I often show my ranking list when I do videos, and this is kind of something different. This is my headphone list. For a long time, I was kind of a headphone guru and a headphone nut. I loved headphones, and that was kind of my thing. But I forget where it was. I want to say it was this video from Precog during the headphone show, and he kind of talked about why IEMs kind of present an amazing value. And they started to interest me as someone who really wants to have a good closeback, but every time I try a closeback, they're always terrible, muffled, and poor. I find even the best closebacks are about as good as maybe a $200 or $300 IEM. They just don't have it. Now, granted, it doesn't sit on your ears or in your ear canal, which can be a benefit, but the need for isolation in your sound is something that I need in my life. So it becomes kind of a challenge as I looked for something. So I started looking at IEMs rather than headphones. This is the graph of the MEGA5 EST. I could talk about it for a while, but we're going to keep it kind of simple. Why do I like it? Really pristine, precise upper mids. Really nice bass shelf. Very reasonable price considering the drivers, considering that it's custom. And, you know, and there's some nice things to be said about this as a value proposition for what I like. So as we look at this, you'll notice it is close to my target, but not exactly. My target's kind of based on the Annihilator, kind of based on the JM1, and kind of mid between that, kind of where I find IEMs to work for me and for my ear canal. So let's look at a few other IEMs and kind of talk about how I kind of came across to this journey of considering this to be one of my favorite IEMs. First one I want to talk about is the Hexa. Now, I bought the Hexa when I owned the Theaudio Oracle Mark II. I was a big follower of Zeos. And Zeos was huge on the Oracle Mark II, and I thought it was fantastic. And I thought, wow, these other guys like the Oracle Mark I. Obviously, the Oracle Mark II is going to be better. That's not always the case. I thought it was good, but when I started experiencing something like the $70 Hexa, it got me to really realize how little sometimes you have to spend on money. And my ideal and desire to have and own more IEMs has slowly kind of increased over the past few years. So I wanted to show you, because I happen to have the Oracle Mark II graphed, I wanted to show you what the Hexa looks like. I mean, I like the base of the Oracle, but I did notice that the upper mids were way too sparkly, and the Hexa just kind of has that right, nice, natural feeling of upper mids, and I think it's a really great approach to upper mids that I fully enjoy. Is it perfect? No, but it does a lot of things well and opens the IEM up to what we want to call technicalities and detail and a little bit of air, and it's just kind of a nice, airy presentation that's fun. So the hunt was on for a better IEM. We went to some other things. The next one I looked at is, I got to go to CanJam 2023, demoed a bunch of IEMs, and some of my favorites, the Fat Frequency Grand Maestro, and also this guy, the Elysian Acoustics Annihilator 2023. You'll notice it's very close to my target. You'll notice that the MEGA5 EST bass is very close in the bass to where the Annihilator is, and it's a really quite impressive set. But that's kind of where I went from there. But the problem is that this IEM is expensive, and so I'm trying to experiment and try to figure out a few things, for the hobby and just for curiosity of, can we get this sound quality for cheaper? So, I went on, lived my life, tried a few IEMs, did a few IEM reviews, and, then we got the Chopin. I really liked the Chopin. The Chopin really kind of led me to believe that, IEMs could be cheap, but the Chopin has some minor issues. It had nice bass, it has nice upper mids, but everything wasn't perfect. There were some minor issues with the Chopin, but it's still one of my favorite $200 IEMs. I still consider it a benchmark and well worth the price. So let's look at a few others and talk about what went on from there. I've heard of the MEGA5 EST. A lot of people were talking about it, and all of a sudden it became the rage of headphones.com. Notice how it's kind of coming back here. And a couple other reviewers did a written article about it, talking about how great it was. Now, for me, I get why people like the MEGA5 EST, but it lacked something. It lacked bass. It lacked excitement. The MEGA5 EST itself can be considered to be like clean water. You listen to it, you hear lots of detail, you hear lots of sparkle, but it's uninspiring. It doesn't give a good sense of space or air around you. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of dull. And for me, when I don't hear good bass, that tonality of an IEM doesn't come across right. Like, if we normalize this at, say, 80 hertz, just for curiosity's sake, like what happens here is that, like, you'll get IEMs that'll come across maybe a little bit too sparkly or a little bit too much. And so that's kind of my problem that happens. Like this for me is a really important region, and like if the bass of an IEM isn't right, it just feels really strange to me. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that like that bass level for me is really important. So I have to raise the bass level to a certain point, and then if the upper mids get too much, it's something that can ruin an IEM for me and ruin kind of the flair and experience of an IEM for me, and that's kind of problematic. So as time went on, we got the Theaudio Hype 4. Again, I like the Hype 4. I think it's good. I think it lacks some bass. It has a little bit of blandness. It's upper treble and air and sparkle. I think are okay for the price, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Although I really can see how people would like it, and I think it gives you that mega tuning for cheaper. I do have another mega tuned IEM that I just got in from Kiwi Ears. I think I'll be sharing with you guys probably this weekend, but there are a lot of other IEMs out there. So as we went on, I decided, after I watched HBB's video on the MEGA5 EST bass, I decided to go and order one myself. During that kind of time, we've had the Dyna Quattro come out, and Dyna Quattro has been a really good IEM, and it's something that I consider really good. It hit that target of really nice bass, really upper mids. It's a little bit V-shaped, very hard to drive, but I still think it's a great IEM and something to consider. This really is kind of about as close as my tuning as I've been able to find, and I think it's a really quality, fantastic IEM. So this kind of led me, and then recently I reviewed the Theato Oracle Mark III, and I want to say it was actually right around that time I decided, this just wasn't what I wanted. And then I heard of the bass, and it kind of happened, kind of right around the time that Dyna Quattro and right around the Oracle Mark III kind of came out. That MEGA5 EST bass video came out, and about 8 weeks ago, I went ahead and ordered my MEGA5 EST bass. Now, my process with the MEGA5 EST bass was long. It took about 7 weeks. I still have some issues with my order I'm trying to resolve from Hisenior, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt before I call them out too much on that. But it was an extremely long process that was a little bit frustrating. So, the MEGA5 EST bass. It's a fantastic little set. I like it. I like what it does. To me, it gives really good bass, really good texturing. Its mids are pretty good. I think they're almost perfect. I think it has good air. I think it's tuned very well, basically right where I'd want my preferences, and it scores very well. I think its technical prowess, having ESTs at a reasonable price, is something that I really, really enjoy. I think this is a really good value for those people that can get a hold of one. Again, I had to kind of blind trust that Hisenior would get it to me, but I had almost impeccable channel matching, and so I was really impressed with how well it was balanced. Do I think it's the absolute thing that you have to go for? Not necessarily. I think there's a lot of other IEMs out there that could do really, really well for you. Some that are half the price or sometimes even less. It's something that I personally find a lot of great pleasure in, and I find a lot of great value in, and I think is one of the better tuned IEMs for the price. But again, it's not going to be for everybody. For me, the imaging on it is really good. Its detail is really good. It has really nice feeling and technicalities of what the things that it does, and I'm just overall impressed with what it says, and to me it earns the rank of S. Audio is a funny thing, and I learned a lot being on YouTube, doing some silly reviews about myself and about what other things that I like and what other things are good or bad. I really like this IEM. I think it's a solid set. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think anything's perfect. But I think it's something that, for me, that it works. I think understanding what your journey is and what you want from your music or from your playback is important. It doesn't always need to be expensive. I would love to say I could find something that sounds the same as this IEM for cheaper, maybe lighter, maybe a little bit of the exact design that I would like. Could be even better. So I appreciate you guys watching at the end. This has been a fun video for me to make, to kind of share this little custom IEM that I had done with you guys. Again, the order process was kind of a long time. You can order straight through Hisenior Facebook. Just message them there and talk to them about what the process is. And it's been a good experience. I've enjoyed this IEM. I've not really done this before, but they got it exactly what I wanted, exactly as HBB has his graph on his squig, and I thought that was a super cool thing. Very pleased with my end product, and I think the sound of it is really good and really enjoyable. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments below, and hope you guys have a great day. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video.
It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?